In 1966, in the misty land of England, the Spanish national team entered the World Cup as the reigning European champions, Euro 1964. Armed with a squad combining seasoned veterans who had dominated Europe with Real Madrid and young talents in their prime, La Roja was expected to achieve great things. With a playing style based on skillful individual technique and a proud fighting spirit, they represented a footballing nation at its peak at the club level. Although the final result was not as expected, with their elimination in the group stage, that generation of players, known as the Yeye generation of Real Madrid, combined with stars who had moved to Italy, left an indelible mark. Nearly 60 years have passed since that summer in England, and time, like a rushing river, has swept away the youth of those young men. Some have become immortal legends, some have chosen a life of seclusion, and others have forever rested in the embrace of Mother Earth. Now, let us pause to reflect on the tumultuous journey of the souls who created the proud red of Spain in 1966. José Ángel Iribar was a towering figure in Spain's goal in 1966. At the age of 23, the Basque boy, nicknamed El Chopo, the Poplar, was an irreplaceable barrier. With his ideal height, long reach, and remarkably calm demeanor, Iribar not only caught the ball but also commanded the space with a rare majesty. In that tournament, although Spain was eliminated early, Iribar played the full 270 minutes, showcasing exceptional reflexes and commanding the defense, becoming a solid source of moral support for his teammates against the fierce attacks from Argentina and West Germany. After the 1966 World Cup, Iribar's career became synonymous with unwavering loyalty to Athletic Bilbao. He became a living legend at the San Mamés Stadium with 18 seasons of service, holding the record for most appearances in the club's history. But Iribar was more than just a player. He was a symbol of Basque pride. His image of carrying the Ikurriña flag, the Basque flag, onto the pitch in 1976, when it was still not fully legalized after the dictatorship, became a historic moment, turning him into a hero in the hearts of the people of the region. After retiring from football, Iribar did not leave the sport, but transitioned to coaching and representing the club. His life was a straight line of dedication, free from scandals and fanfare. He lived simply and humbly, just like his former style of playmaking. The calm and steadfastness of the poplar tree in goal seems to have perfectly reflected his life. On the field, he was the most reliable goalkeeper. Off the field, he was the keeper of the flame of his homeland's identity and culture. Iribar is proof that a great player doesn't need to be flashy, but only needs sincerity and loyalty. Today, at the age of 81, José Ángel Iribar is still living healthily in the Basque country. He regularly appears in the stands at the San Mamés Stadium, respected by generations of players and fans as a revered father figure. His hair has turned white, but the resolute gaze of El Chopo remains unchanged. Following every step of the team he has loved his whole life. Manuel Sanchís Martínez, or Sanchís Señor, arrived at the 1966 World Cup at the peak of his career, at the age of 28. A fullback with the spirit of an attacking warrior, he worked wonders by scoring Spain's opening goal against Switzerland. With his fearless, aggressive yet technically gifted style, Sanchís embodied the spirit of Real Madrid at the time, elegant yet tenacious. He was one of the key players of the Yeye generation that won the European Cup that same year. Sanchís' career continued to flourish after 1966 with Real Madrid, winning numerous La Liga titles. However, his greatest legacy in football was not just trophies, but a tangible masterpiece, his son, Manolo Sanchís. He raised his son to become the legendary captain of the royal team, creating the only father-son pair to win the European Cup with Real Madrid. After retiring, Sanchís chose a relatively private life, focusing on his business ventures and supporting his son's career. He was a family man, strict yet full of love, who quietly laid the foundation for a glorious football family. Strength and a sense of continuity are the threads that connect Sanchís as a player and Sanchís in everyday life. On the field, he clears obstacles so his teammates can shine. In life, he paves the way for his son to reach the pinnacle of glory. He is the epitome of a great father and mentor behind the scenes. However, the cycle of birth, aging, illness, and death spares no one. On October 28, 2017, Manuel Sanchís passed away at the age of 79 due to a pulmonary embolism. His passing left an immeasurable grief for the Real Madrid family. He was not only an outstanding defender, but also the originator of a royal lineage in Spanish football. Francisco Paco Gento was a leading figure, a living legend even while still playing. At 32, wearing the captain's armband, Gento was the bridge between the glorious past of the 1950s and the present. The Cantabrian whirlwind, whose blistering speed once terrified Europe, now played with experience and class. Although he no longer possessed the terrifying bursts of speed of his youth, Gento's presence on the field remained a constant nightmare for any defender. He was the soul, the symbol of the desire to win. After the 1966 World Cup, Gento continued to dedicate himself to Real Madrid for a few more years before retiring with an unprecedented record, the only player in history to win 6 European Cups. After leaving the pitch, Gento's life was peaceful and he was highly respected. He did not pursue a top-level coaching career, but instead spent his time as an ambassador and later as honorary president of Real Madrid. After the death of his friend Alfredo Di Stefano, Gento lived an exemplary and humble life despite possessing the world's largest collection of titles. He rarely spoke about himself, always focusing on his teammates and the team as a whole. There's an interesting contrast between Gento on the pitch and Gento off the pitch. On the field, he's lightning fast and roaring like a storm, but off the pitch, he's slow, gentle, and quiet. He's like an ancient tree providing shade, witnessing the ups and downs of football history while maintaining his serene composure. But then, even the legend of legends had to come to an end. On January 18, 2022, Francisco Gento passed away peacefully in his sleep at the age of 88. His passing marked the end of the most romantic era in world football. His legacy is not only a string of unbreakable records, but also a lesson in perseverance and the humility of a true great man. Amancio Amaro, nicknamed El Brujo, the Wizard, was the brightest star in Spain's attack at the age of 26 in England in 1966. He scored the decisive goal against Switzerland, and his dazzling, magical dribbling on the right wing was La Roja's most potent weapon. Amancio played with the improvisation of a street artist but also the effectiveness of a killer. He represented the yay-yay generation with a youthful, free-spirited, and captivating style. Amancio's career continued to flourish, culminating in the Pichichi Top Scorer Award in La Liga and a crucial role in Real Madrid's history. But his contributions didn't stop at playing. After retiring, he became the father of the legendary Quinta del Buitre, the Vultures generation of the 1980s, leading the Castilla youth team. It was the wizard Amancio who molded players like Butragueño and Michel. His personal life was intertwined with his boundless passion for football. He was a cheerful, lively man, always loved for his generous personality, typical of a Galician. Amancio's talent and ability to inspire on the pitch have fully translated into his role as a teacher in real life. He doesn't just teach technique. He instills confidence and a passion for the art in his students. Amancio lives the way he plays football, always seeking beauty and creativity in every situation. However, sad news arrived on a spring day. On February 21st, 2023, Amancio Amaro passed away at the age of 83, just 1 year after assuming the position of honorary president of Real Madrid. The passing of the wizard leaves a great void, but the magic he created on the pitch and on the coaching bench will forever be a fairy tale to be told for generations to come. José Martínez Sánchez, also known as Piri, arrived at the 1966 World Cup as a passionate 21-year-old. He scored the winning goal against Argentina, a goal that showcased his bravery and excellent opportunism. Piri wasn't a flashy player. He embodied the spirit of a warrior, of courage. The image of Piri playing with a broken collarbone or with a high fever in later years became a symbol of courage, garra, in Spanish football. What's most remarkable about Piri is the path he chose after leaving the football pitch. He secretly pursued medical studies while still playing at the highest level, something unthinkable for footballers. After retiring, Piri became a full-fledged doctor, joining Real Madrid's medical team. He married the famous actress Sonia Bruno, forming a golden couple in the entertainment and sports world at the time. Piri's life is a perfect balance of intellect and strength, of the glamour of the football field and the quiet dedication of a physician. The connection between Piri on the pitch and Piri off the pitch is one of healing and protection. When playing, he uses his strength to defend the goal. As a doctor, he uses his knowledge to protect the health of younger players. He is a warrior with a kind heart, a hero both on and off the field. Today, at 79 years old, Piri is still tirelessly contributing to the sport. Following Amancio's departure, he was elected the current honorary president of Real Madrid. He maintains his dignified demeanor, sharp intellect, and is a living history book, a witness to the most glorious periods of Spanish football. His life is powerful proof that footballers can absolutely become great intellectuals of society. Luis Suárez Miramontes, Luisito, was Spain's only world-class star to play abroad at Inter Milan at the 1966 World Cup. At the age of 31, he was the only Ballon d'Or winner, 1960, in the history of Spanish men's football to be born in Spain. On the English pitch, Suárez was the architect, the tempo setter, distributing the ball with millimeter-accurate long passes. He played with his head, with elegance and grace, a complete contrast to the ferocity of his teammates. Suárez's career is closely linked to the great Grande Inter era in Italy. After retiring from playing, he became a talented coach and later a sharp football commentator. He lived most of his life in Milan, Italy, where he was revered like a saint. Suárez was a straightforward man, unafraid to speak the truth, but always maintained the demeanor of a gentleman. He lived a prosperous and fulfilling life, but at times also felt lonely due to his homesickness, as he was the most successful expatriate in Spanish football history. Suárez's finesse and foresight on the pitch accurately reflect his personality off the field. A thoughtful individual who always sees what others don't. He is an artist among warriors, a sage of the football faith. However, every melodious tune eventually comes to an end. On July 9th, 2023, just a few months after the passing of his teammate Amancio, Luis Suárez breathed his last at Milan at the age of 88. The death of the Golden Architect was a tremendous loss not only for Spain or Italy, but for the entire football world. He took with him to the afterlife the secrets of timeless passing and the pure beauty of attacking football. Ignacio Zoco Español, at the 1966 World Cup, embodied strength and tenacity in Spain's midfield. At 26, with his towering height and long stride, Zoco was like a watchtower guarding the defense. He played the full 90 minutes in all 3 matches, focusing on his defensive duties, tackling, and ball recovery without flashy moves. Zoco was a loyal guardian, providing the foundation for artists like Amancio and Suárez to shine. His solidity and discipline were typical characteristics of Real Madrid during the Yeye era. Zoco's career was entirely dedicated to the white jersey of Real Madrid until his retirement. But what the public remembers most about Zoco is his fairy tale marriage to the famous singer Maria Ostiz. The combination of a rugged, strong footballer and a sweet, refined singer created a Beckham Victoria couple of Spain in the 1970s. Zoco was known as a polite and humble gentleman. After retiring from playing, he chose not to become a coach, but instead served as Real Madrid's match delegate for almost 20 years. He was the man standing in the tunnel, greeting the players, a symbol of hospitality and club tradition. There's an interesting contrast in Zoco's life. On the field, he was a tough, resolute rock. But off the field, he was a romantic husband and a caring, warm manager. He dedicated his life to service, from defensive duties on the pitch to managing the household in his old age. However, that dedicated journey came to an end on September 28, 2015. Ignacio Zoco passed away at the age of 76 after a long battle with illness. His death, shortly after he relinquished his position as match representative, left Real Madrid fans devastated. He departed, carrying with him the image of a loyal old guard who remained faithful to his last breath. Francisco Fernández Rodríguez, or simply Gallego, arrived in England in 1966 at the age of 22. Despite his young age, he secured a starting place in all 3 matches thanks to his powerful playing style and ideal physique. Gallego wasn't the type of center-back who played with brains like Sanchez. He played with strength, decisiveness, and excellent aerial ability. At that tournament, he was one of the few bright spots in the defense, a raw talent being polished into a future pillar of the team. After the World Cup, Gallego moved to Barcelona and became one of the greatest legends in the history of the Catalan club. He was considered a giant in defense, renowned for his resilience and leadership qualities. His career was long and enduring, and he witnessed the ups and downs of Barca before the Cruyff era. After retiring, Gallego lived a relatively quiet life in his native Andalusia. He was involved in youth development and occasionally appeared at former players' events. He was respected for his frankness and straightforwardness, a characteristic of people from southern Spain. Gallego's unwavering strength on the pitch mirrored his life. He was a solid pillar of support for his family and a symbol of loyalty in the eyes of his fans. Avoiding media attention, Gallego chose a peaceful life, enjoying his old age amidst the orange and olive groves of his homeland. Today, at the age of 80, Gallego is still alive and well. He is one of the last living witnesses of Barcelona's golden generation of the 1970s and the Spanish national team of 1966. Although modern football has changed considerably, the image of a steely central defender playing with both a passionate heart and a cool head remains a valuable lesson for future generations. Luis del Sol Cascajares, nicknamed Sette Pulmoni, Seven Lungs by the Italians, was Spain's inexhaustible engine at the 1966 World Cup. At 31, Del Sol was a star who had already made a name for himself at Juventus. He brought boundless energy to the tournament, moving across the pitch and linking defense and attack. Although Spain were eliminated early, Del Sol's tenacious fighting spirit in the 2 matches he played in is undeniable. He was the perfect blend of Spanish technique and the tactical discipline of Italian football. Del Sol's career was a glorious journey through 3 major clubs: Real Betis, Real Madrid, and Juventus. He was the first Spanish player to achieve such resounding success in Serie A. After retiring, he returned to his old home, Real Betis, taking on various roles from technical secretary to coach. He is considered Betis's greatest player of all time, an icon of the city of Seville. His life was characterized by simplicity and humility. He always refused excessive praise and preferred to be remembered as someone who always gave his all for the team. The perseverance and dedication of the Seven Lungs on the pitch are a reflection of who he was off the pitch. He devoted himself completely to football, to his family, and to the club he loved. He was a bridge between Spanish and Italian football cultures, paving the way for players to play abroad. However, on June 20, 2021, Luis del Sol passed away at the age of 86. His passing left immeasurable grief for both footballing nations. Fans of Betis and Juventus bowed before his coffin, bidding farewell to a legend who dedicated his entire life to running and contributing tirelessly. Joaquin Peiró, nicknamed El Galgo, the Hound, for his long stride and graceful speed, arrived at the 1966 World Cup at the peak of his form at Inter Milan. At 30 years old, he was one of the most modern attacking players of his time. Tall, technically gifted, and extremely intelligent. In the 2 matches in England, Peiró demonstrated finesse in his ball handling, bringing a flamboyant and romantic touch to his team's play. He was part of the legendary Grande Inter squad, where he learned how to win through maximum efficiency. After a brilliant playing career in Italy and with Atletico Madrid, Peiró became a highly successful coach, particularly during his time leading Malaga to victory in the Intertoto Cup. He was renowned for his gentlemanly demeanor on the sidelines, calm, reserved, but incredibly insightful. Off the pitch, Peiró was a family man, living a private life and avoiding controversy. He was respected by his players as a father figure and a wise mentor. He always believed that football was a game of intellect, not just brute force. The grace and intelligence of the Hound on the pitch translated into his sharpness and composure in life. He never let emotions override reason, always maintaining an admirable balance. Peiró is a model of a player who knew how to successfully adapt after retirement, preserving his reputation through his noble character. However, the journey of this elegant gentleman came to an end on March 18, 2020. Joaquin Peiró passed away in Madrid at the age of 84 after a long period of declining health. His death occurred amidst a pandemic, adding to the profound sadness. Spanish football lost one of its finest sons, a man who brought elegance to every move on the pitch. Severino Reja was a unique case in football, a one-club man for his entire career. At the 1966 World Cup, at the age of 27, he was Spain's #1 left-back. Known for his speed and attacking runs down the wing, a relatively new quality at the time, Reja brought dynamism to the flank in the 2 matches he played. He was a key member of Real Zaragoza's golden generation, nicknamed Los Magnificos, the Magnificents. After his failure in England, Reja continued to dedicate his entire career to Zaragoza until his retirement. He rejected many attractive offers from big clubs like Real Madrid and Barcelona to stay with his hometown team. After retiring, Reja did not pursue a coaching career but chose a peaceful life away from the spotlight. He became a loyal fan, always following the team from the stands. His life is a song of loyalty and contentment with what he has. Reja's unwavering commitment to the touchline on the pitch embodies his absolute loyalty off the field. In an increasingly commercialized world of football, Reja's story stands as a beautiful reminder of pure love for his team. He didn't need many glamorous titles to be remembered. He is remembered for dedicating his heart to one place. Today, at the age of 86, Severino Reja is living a peaceful retirement in Zaragoza. He is considered the club's greatest living legend. Every time he appears, he still receives thunderous applause from the fans. He is proof that happiness sometimes doesn't lie in conquering the world, but in living fully where you belong. Marcelino Martinez Cao, often simply called Marcelino, arrived at the 1966 World Cup as a national hero. 2 years earlier, his spectacular header against the Soviet Union had secured Spain's victory in Euro 1964. However, in England in 1966, he only played 1 match and was unable to replicate that miracle. Nevertheless, Marcelino's class as a lethal striker, with his excellent positioning and heading ability, still commanded respect from opponents. He, along with Reja, were the elite representatives of the Los Magnificos of Zaragoza. Marcelino's career was significantly hampered by injuries, forcing him to retire early at the age of 29. However, his life after football has been very fulfilling. He returned to his hometown of Galicia, living a simple life with his family. He had no ambition for power or fame, finding joy in the simple things of everyday life. He still recounts the story of his golden goal in 1964 to his children and grandchildren, not with arrogance, but with the gentle pride of someone who once made history. Marcelino's moment of brilliance on the pitch seemed to contrast sharply with his quiet life. He poured all the glory of his life into that header years ago, only to then choose to step back and live like an ordinary person. He was a hero without a cape, a man who brought joy to an entire nation but chose solitude for himself. Now, at 84 years old, Marcelino lives in his hometown. He remains healthy and sharp-minded. Spanish fans still mention his name whenever the national team competes in major tournaments, as a symbol of luck and glory. He is a living legend, a testament to the fact that a great moment can define a career, but one's attitude defines a person.